Hodge, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
yeah, absolutely. I love to begin at the very start of your career. What made you got into construction and business work in the first place? Tell me more about that.
I'd always been interested in my own little construction projects, even as a youth,
Uh-huh.
and had done cabinet making and painting and decorating and whatnot. But what happened? That's kind of a very brief background.
Mhm.
I was involved in working with a church for about 10 years
Mhm.
in large group leadership, involved in music and productions and so forth. And about 8 years into that time, I read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, and
Oh.
it kind of lit a business fire. I felt like my time at the church was coming to an end, and so it was really from that book that I went out into business, and that's when I came into finance business. So that, and then my first client was a plumber when I came into consulting.
Mhm.
So it's kind of all come together over the years, but you only see that in hindsight, really.
Mhm. Right. So you read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad by I think Robert Kiyosaki. Is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep, yep.
Yeah. So do you have any experience from running businesses and working in leadership that shape how you see your work today?
I think the key thing that I've learned over the years, and so I've essentially had three careers. I've had the church leadership side of things,
Mhm.
the consulting, the finance career, running my own team in finance,
Mhm.
and now consulting for the last 15 years. And I think the key thing underlying it all is learning to bring the best out of people and
Mhm.
understanding people, because it's all been team based work, and especially in the church, because I couldn't incentivize anybody with, money. So I
Mhm.
had to tap into their inner drivers and what they were passionate about, and then that's transferred through into finance business, and now my leadership work in consulting coaching.
Was there a moment in your life when you said, maybe I want to coach people and help businesses?
Yeah, I distinctly remember in 2003, I'd been in finance for about 3 years, and I had a business coach working with me at the time,
Mhm.
and he really helped me clarify that my future was in coaching and consulting. It
Mhm.
was another 7 years before I made that move. But it was around then. I also had another business coach ask me a couple of years after that whether I'd come in and work with him in coaching, and I said, I said I just want to stay in the business trenches a while longer, to learn what it is, to be a business owner properly, as
Mhm.
opposed to, being a business coach who's just done a 30-day course and then they, go coaching without prior experience. So that was really valuable.
I have a story about myself. I just walked away from my last job as a quantity surveyor a couple of years
Yeah.
ago. And yeah, at the time, I felt completely lost and didn't know where I was supposed to go next. And yeah, I just knew I couldn't keep living on autopilot. So I wanted to get my life back on track. So
Yeah.
I took swing at something new, which is starting a podcast. And I didn't really know what I was doing at first. Zero what math. This
Yeah.
is this
Most
is
of us don't.
yeah, this is new industry for me, and
Yeah.
all I
No,
knew
good
was
on you.
that I needed a new direction in my life, and I wanted doing something that felt meaningful. I mean, something that made me excited to get out of the bed, and I wanted more control over my time and my patience. And that's when the podcast idea landed. And
Yeah, good.
honestly, it was scary for the first time, because this is my that is my first experience talking in front of a camera, and I didn't know if anyone would listen to my voice, and I didn't even know if I had anything worth to say. And but I keep telling myself, just take the shot. And
Yeah.
worst case, it flops, and best case, I do something
Yep.
different in my life.
Yep.
And then I started researching about the guests and topics, and at the same time, I practiced talking into the mic, even though I wasn't sure if I was talking to the future listener or just the walls. And I told myself I had nothing to lose. If it worked, great. I do something different. If it doesn't, at least I left it all on the field and tried something new. And the more I thought about it, the more it made sense. And yeah, from that moment, I always enjoy listening to people's story. Now, I wanted to share them in one platform, which is YouTube. So that's the reason I'm doing this podcast. And
Yep.
I wanted to learn from people who've been knocked down and still got back up in their life.
Yeah.
Maybe you have a great
Yep.
story. So that's what I want to share about you.
Jeez.
Yeah. And yeah, I wanted to build something that felt like my life, not someone else planned for me. Is that clear for
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, very. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very good. And yeah, kudos to you for the courage, because it takes courage to do that, stepping out of the known into the unknown.
Mhm.
So
You've been in business for more than 30 years. And what's changed the most, and how did you adapt to those changes?
probably the two things that have well, primarily, obviously technology has changed a hell of a lot.
Yeah.
Back then we had fax machines.
Mhm.
And so being able to adapt with that, and even COVID was a real gift for me, and turns out a lot of other people. I used to be on site a whole lot of times, and travel,
Mhm.
which I still travel, but these days I've found that, I learned how to use Zoom and Teams when COVID came down the chute.
This is your
And
first
so,
experience.
yeah, pretty much. I had one person do it with me. I'm a web designer previously. I'm just a bit of a slow technology person, I guess, in that whole thing. Anyway, it forced me to do it, and I've really enjoyed it. The other key thing I think that's changed, and I'm sure there's a hell of a lot that has over the time, but one thing I've noticed is with sales, because all of us, in business are involved in some kind of sales or influencing others. And what I notice these days is that, and I think Dan Pink picked this up in his book on, I think it's called something like It's Human to Sell, or To Sell is Human, where back then, 30 years ago, I was educating people in product and services.
Mhm.
And now people come to me much more educated, and sales is much more about filling in the gaps as opposed to a total education, finding out
Mhm.
what they don't know or what they're interested in at the point, because there's so much content around the place, and ability for people to search on products and services as well. So they're the two key things that come to mind.
I think technology has influenced a lot of human beings, especially in the modern world. Customer want quick responses, whether it's through email, chat, or social media.
Yeah.
If their question are not answered instantly, they may move on to another competitor without hesitation. And
Yep.
you know what? Social media has become one of the essential tools in the modern world. The game has totally changed. Today, everything moves faster. If you can keep up, you get left behind. But if you're willing to learn new tools and adapt, there's are more opportunities than ever before. And I have imagined how our ancestors went everything on paper files back in the day. Phones were landlines and letters were how they stay in touch. And yeah, the old world is gone, totally gone.
Yep.
And now most business happen on a screen. Meetings are on the
Yep.
Zoom. These are signed to the apps and customer expect you to respond immediately. Information travel faster, which means decision have to be made faster too. And you can hide behind slow process anymore. If you let people just move on to someone else. And at the same time, technology has made it easier to reach more people with less effort. You can build a brand from your kitchen table if you know what you're doing. You can build your brand from your washroom if you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yep.
the tools
Yep.
are available to everyone, but not
Yep.
everyone is willing to learn them. And I think the real advantage today is adaptability. Yeah, the people who stay curious and keep learning and stay open to change, I think they are the ones who win it all. So wait, uh, from your experience, which skills or values have played the biggest role in your success across the different jobs and roles you had?
Uh, Possibly two, is learning to understand people and how to bring the best out of them.
Mm,
That's been a really core, I guess, interest, but in recent years, a real passion to, or I don't know if I even really like that word, but a desire to understand people and what makes people tick. And I
mm,
think the other skill is in creativity. I remember in finance, a customer said to me, he said, "How come you can get home loans that other brokers can't
mm,
get?" And I said, "It's because I was a musician." Now, I I was it was tongue in cheek, but there was a lot of truth to it. Is my brain and the way I work is it can be quite creative, and so being able to see things outside the square, look at things from different angles, and even from a coaching consulting perspective, just being able to step back and think. And even though you just talked about speed of change and the rapidity of the rapid responses and everything, I'm also learning to step back, to slow down, and to think, because that thinking process
mm.
and seeing things from different angles can really speed change up if you nail it in the right place.
I think discipline is another one too. Discipline get way too little credit in that situation. And
Yeah,
people add talent is the golden ticket, motivation is the golden ticket, but it's not. Discipline is what keeps you going even when the motivations run out. And it's what made you showed up even when your brain is screaming,
yeah, yeah,
nah, I'm skipping the exercise today. And it's what get you across deadline even when nobody is watching. And it's what pushes you to master new skill, learn new system, and adopt fresh way of thinking. But the problem is most people lean too hard on motivation. Yeah, they wait to feel like it before doing anything.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
guilty as charged, I used to do that all the time. I wait for inspiration to strike like some magical lightning
yeah,
bolt. And spoiler, it really does. And eventually I realized just showing up consistently, even when it sucks, is what separate the winner from the West.
Yeah,
And
and I think I've come to see too. Motivation's a massive topic. I've been studying it for about 4 years now. But one of the things about motivation is that it typically follows action.
mm,
And that's not the whole equation again, because it's a massive topic. But one of the aspects of it is that when we act, generally motivation will follow. Not all the time, but it's been something good for me to remember when I feel like, skipping the discipline part, just remembering that, for example, writing, that's one of my harder things I do. It's
mm,
good, but it's difficult. And I often don't feel motivated to write, but when I write, the motivation typically comes in behind and spurs me along. So yeah, that's an interesting topic all on its own.
I heard your first consulting client was a small plumbing company.
Yep.
Can you share the lesson you learned from that experience that still help you today?
Yeah, there's a couple of things from that. Is that I remember in my first meeting with them, they said, we don't want more profit, we
Mm,
just want order from our chaos.
mm,
And so as we brought order to the company
mm,
and got them out of chaos, profitability increased.
mm,
So that was one good lesson there of the importance of, of order, of things not being in chaos, things being streamlined. And the other thing around the streamlining that is still with me today from that piece of work is the whole importance of streamlining workflows
mm.
and getting rid of duplications and blockages. I think it was a very small company, and we saved 51 hours of admin time just from getting rid of duplications and streamlining the workflows. So it was a significant job to, to cut my teeth on consulting. I had done a little bit of it, but I'd done consulting before that, but that was when I first went out on my own. That I always called them when I started, but I probably worked 6 or 12 months before that with another business partner and whatnot. So.
Yeah, how long have you been involved in a consultant
About 15 years, I think now,
yeah,
something
2000,
like that.
year 2000, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
around
2010, right?
2010. Yep,
Wow,
yep,
so long. It's been a long time ago.
yep. Yes.
I was 15 years old at that time.
Now you're making me feel really old.
Yeah. How do you describe good leadership? I want to know about that because how does a great leader appear in real life? Because this is your topic. So,
I'll keep leadership again, like motivation, massive topic.
mm,
I'll just zero in on the leadership of people, because that's typically where I work. I work broader than that, but a lot of my work is working with managers, coaching leaders to be better with their teams and with their people to bring the best out of them. And I think one of the areas there is having what I've come to term as tough love leadership.
mm,
So if you think of a continuum with supportive on one side and then command and control tough on the other, being able to adapt to the person's need in front of you, whether they need more support or more tough.
mm,
That's I see good leaders being able to shift that. And I have to do that when I'm working with people as well.
mm,
Some people need a bit more propping up. Some people need a bit more of a smack in the head. And it's being able to do that. I remember one leader I worked with, I interviewed his team, and they all said, in a summary, we know he really values us. He will do anything for us. His support is incredible, but I wouldn't want to cross him.
Mm.
All right. And so, and he was, I worked with him for about 6 months, and one of the best I've ever seen. That ability to, his team felt loved, but they also knew that they, get their asses into gear and not, do what they wanted to do. He was the boss. So anyway, I think that's been a good model of leadership that I've seen in managers across the place.
Which common mistake do you think managers always make when trying to bring out the best in their people?
Yeah, one of the more common ones, and again, you could talk about this on its own podcast, but one of the common things, and I've had to learn this in coaching individuals as well, is the operating out of our own default behavioral style as opposed to adapting to the behavioral style of the person in front of us.
Mm.
So some people need they need to have chit chat, and they need to, feel the love a bit like this other continuum. Other people like, they just want the bullet points. They don't want all the sub points.
Mm.
You know, yeah, I could go on that. Some people need the real detail. Other people need routine, and for good leaders to be able to adapt their style to the style of others, and then create and even around job design around those behavioral styles of their people, I think a real, critical element. Now, again, I'm working with different people every day in different behaviors, and I'm constantly having to, adapt and get into their world as opposed to operating straight from mine.
Yeah, I think micromanaging is another big threat, if you know what I mean. When a manager is breathing down people's necks, everything gets tight and stressful, and creativity dies, confidence disappears, and the whole place kills the vibe. And people stop thinking for themselves and just follow orders. And the problem is simple. When you control every tiny detail, you send a message no one want to hear. I don't trust you. And
Yeah, yeah,
that that message
yeah.
make people shrink. They don't speak up and they don't try new ideas. That definitely don't want to take the risk. And so the team is working on eggshells, just trying not to get into the trouble.
Yeah.
And over time, nobody wants to take the responsibility or show initiative.
I think there's and this is where the situational leadership perspective comes in. Some people actually need to be micromanaged. For example, you get an apprentice
Mm-hmm.
who just starts, on the tools on a construction site, never done that before. Those
Mm-hmm.
guys, they need to be told what to do and essentially micromanaged. Whereas the more, someone grows and develops, then, greater amounts of autonomy come in. The only other place micromanagement has its place, and I do this occasionally with managers, is that when we're doing a short-term improvement project,
Mm-hmm.
and equipping them with skills that's got an urgency factor about them, I might be working with them every day, and there might be micro elements to that as well, and that I'm holding them directly accountable. But the goal is to get them, autonomous, still within the framework of accountability. So it's just being able to pick, I think, where the person that is in terms of their development, and then apply the appropriate leadership style accordingly.
Yeah, so you think micromanaging is also the important part?
Well,
Yes.
it's just got its place. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people throw it out,
Mm-hmm.
but I think I just think it's got its place in different situations with different people. Obviously, you don't want someone who knows their job, great person, very responsible, very trustworthy in the job for 20 years. You don't want to micromanage someone like that because, you know, they'll walk out the front door when the next best job offer comes. But again, if you've got an apprentice that's just started first day on the tools, you know, there's a there's an element or a lot of elements about you know, going into micro with them. So
You often say you want to make leader life easier. What do you really mean? What do you mean by that?
there's a couple of things. I work with a estimator, construction company, commercial construction company. On our first Zoom call, I could just see the stress on his face, and he teared up as he was talking. He was in a, you know, a pressure zone like nothing else. And after I worked with him for about it was about 3 or 4 weeks, we got him from back from the high stress zone, working till 6:30 of a night, back to leaving work at about 4:30 and getting to go for a walk with his partner. He was a different bloke after that first month. And so for me, that's one aspect, life balance. He got some balance back. It took the stress out of his days. It was, you know, ordered, and it made it easier. The other is helping. I'm coaching another person in team dynamics, and his life is now easier because his team is contributing and supporting him, as opposed to him just, you know, driving outcomes. So it's quite varied. But yeah, life balance, and then, you know, their life in the workplace are the two key things of ease that I see in my work anyway. So
If someone remember only a single idea from your book, how efficiency changes the game, do you
yeah.
think which idea should it be?
Oh my God. 50,000
So hard
words and
question.
one idea. I think the thing is that, and I don't even know if this is stated in the book. I'm sure it is, because it's the thing that I'm very big on with my consulting coaching work, is finding the one driver of efficiency. Now that can be in 10 or 20 areas of the business, but it's trying to find the one thing. For example, in time management, when I work with someone there, most people jump out of bed and run in the general direction of the day without a plan. Or if they do have a plan, you know, it might be just a scribbled to-do list. So the one thing there would be to take 5, 10, 15 minutes to plan your day and prioritize that one thing. Then affects it, has a peripheral effect. And so I think the book and the various chapters, there's numbers of them there, it's trying to find the other thing. The other comment I get from the book, the one main comment, is that it's easy to read. That was a pleasing outcome for me. So it wasn't, because a lot of my readers and people who follow my, I've got a Substack writing post. I do mindful motivation every Friday, and a lot of people say, you know, they like it because it's easy to read and succinct, and so that's what I'm always trying to shoot for.
I don't have the time to read your book yet. Yeah, I think maybe one day, if I have a time, I can read your book. I think maybe that is a good book to read.
Yeah, well, it's how efficiency changes the game. Obviously, it's called. But if you don't have time to read it, buy it and read the time management chapter first, and that'll help you get the time to read the rest of it.
Who has been the biggest influence or mentor in your life?
Gosh, There's so many of them, so many. I think in consulting, Alan Weiss out of the US, definitely a major contributor. Linda Henman, I've worked with Colin Noyes back in finance days and a bit through consulting as well. Brooke Monaghan, he was an amazing business partner that was a major influence on my life early on. And I could go on and on and on. But I have to say the biggest contributor to my world in the last 7 or so years is my partner, Michelle. She's a amazing person and a psychologist as well. And, you know, my writing, my reading, my researching, my coaching has just grown leaps and bounds from, you know, her influence in my world. She's brilliant. Her understanding of people and being an academic as well. It's just, been incredibly amazing, you know, influence in my world.
So how long have you been married? The two of you have been married?
We're engaged. We met in the back row of a Virgin flight about 7 years ago. Sat next to each other, and then I proposed to her in the front row about 12 or 18 months later. So
both of you maybe had a hard situation after marriage, so that's normal for the marriage person to face that.
Yeah, no, it's just it's just what it is. It's great. It's nothing been nothing difficult, but it's that, you know, that influence that she's had on my world that's been and my work that's been amazing. You know, I'm a very different person now to what I was, and you know, part of that's been the introduction to the works of psychologists and also the behaviorists. And so I've grown a real love for those two streams of, you know, psychology and behaviorism as I've been going on as well. So
what are you excited about for the next few years and in your goals or project?
Probably the most imminent is trying to get my book finished. I've been writing a book for about 4 years. Life's got in the way a little bit over that time. And it's been a very heavy lift from all the research I've done on it. So that's one key thing, and that's about the, you know, bringing out the best in people, essentially, not on that title, but to really a book for leaders, working with people. And the other thing next year is I've got a new, just released it yesterday, an emergent leader course that combines training with coaching, which is something I firmly believe is a powerful change dynamic. So they're two things. And probably the other thing is I want to go back to ballroom dance lessons next year. So I haven't done that for a while. So
Wait, thanks again for spending your time with me. And I really enjoy hearing your story, your insight, your experiences, the way you think about business and leadership. And yeah, I hope everyone listening will take away something meaningful from our conversation. Wait, where can people connect with you and follow your work online?
rayhodge.com.au.
That's it.
That's it. And then that's got all my socials. People can subscribe to my writing there as well. I'm on Substack, Ray Hodge Mindful Motivation. But yeah, the website rayhodge.com.au, that will take people everywhere. So
all right. Please make sure to look through Ray's material as well. I include links to his social media platform in the show notes below. And take a little time to explore and see which ideas speak to you. After that, feel free to fill your comments and reaction below, and I read them whenever I have a free time. So, we at the final part of our talk. I love ending every episode with this segment. I call it the last 30-second segment. Before we land off the plane, I want to leave our audience with something that sticks. something that they can carry with them long after the episode is over. You think about the people listening right now. Some of them might be at a crossroad. Some of them might be struggling to find direction in their life. And some may have been told it's too late. And others are overwhelmed, uncertain, or wrestling with inner challenge every single day. And I want you to imagine that you could speak directly into their hearts and mind. If you could hand them just one insight or simple step they could take today. So wait, I'm handing the mic to you one last time. If you had 30 seconds
30
to
seconds.
motivate
I think,
or inspire
yeah,
someone, what would be your
I
final
think the,
message you share with them?
well, I think the underlying message I think about, I was going to say most days, a lot of days for myself, is find the conditions in life that cause you to thrive
Mhm.
and seek to install them and do more of them. And the conditions in your life that cause you to merely survive or decline, seek to limit those, your exposure to those, or delete them altogether.
That's it.
How did I do? Was that within 30 seconds?
Yeah. So beautiful. Way harsh.
Thank you.
Thank you again. See
Thanks,
you
Matt.
later and have a great day.
Thank you.